Hello guys, Altaf with them speaking. Today I'm releasing a new Max Live device. I've been preparing this one for quite a long time, almost 2 months, but I didn't want it to be released too early because I wanted to be tested quite intensely and see how it would fit and if it was really as complete as I wanted it to be. It initially started from a discussion with Psytrance with Dada about the possibility of redoing something similar to LiveCuts, the old BBCut breakbeat plugin that existed and still exists, but in 32 bits only, so forcing people to use JBridge and the Windows of stuff like 32 Lives from SoundRedux and macOS. And now with the new release of bitcrusher and the M1 chips, I think this will not work anymore. So even though I haven't been a user of LiveCuts, I've tried to understand what it actually did, and looking at the interface and listening at its sound, and trying to figure out what I could do which would be a bit similar to it, but with the algorithm touch. So, well, let's get on to it and check it out. Okay, here I do have a basic basic project setup with AutoGlitch, which is the name of the plugin. For now, I just have a kick running, so that's pretty basic. It's just a Psytrance kick from one of the Zenizer sample packs, and the BPM is 144, which is quite okay for now. And but we'll check what we can do with various materials and using AutoGlitch. Let's switch to the second track, which is actually a bassline. I mean, a bit modified one, but it's still a bassline. It's very proggy. But that's not the purpose of that demo. Okay. So let's first have a look at AutoGlitch interface. To the left, you see the random step sequencer that you also find within many of my devices. This one is really acting similarly to what you have in Autoplay, the audio device. If I take it, and there we go. This is Autoplay. So you see we have pretty much the same stuff happening. We have the time allocation, which tells the software what the division it will be used for chopping up the incoming sound. We have lens processing to use to trigger shorter or longer notes within one division. The velocity, which is controlling the volume with some probability on it, and then a note probability and some smoothing parameters, as well as the dry wet knob between the incoming audio and the outputted one. So it's really similar. I mean, I suggest you go if you don't know about this step sequencer. I strongly encourage you to have a look at Autoplay demo, which will explain that quite fine. But basically, if I do nothing inside AutoGlitch apart from playing with that, I globally get something which is working like Autoplay, so it's gating, random gating effect. But of course, this is not what we do today. So we have here first section, which is a repan engine. It basically allows to repan the incoming audio and to put it anywhere we want. With the offset, for example, if I put everything to far to the left, then the incoming audio will, before doing anything else, will go to the left side, the full left side of the stereo. If it's to the right, it's okay to the right. And as I can also repan it and tell the software that I want it to randomly put the incoming audio to the left or to the right, based on the probability. So here, for example, if I say 33%, then each input rhythm here in the sequencer will have one chance over third or 3 to be repanned somewhere between the far left and far right. I can also control the global width, so I can say how wide I want my sound to be, and I can also put my sound, for example, if I say -25 here, which is half in the middle, -25 and here 25, then the rightmost of my audio will go straight in the middle because it's -40, 20, 25, 26 plus 25, sorry. And the left of my audio will be far left, so I have something which is globally in the middle of the left of the stereo. So it's pretty interesting because it allows you to have full control at the incoming stage of where you want to place your incoming sound. Then you can use a dry wet knob, for example. You could say, I want the incoming sound to be to the left, and everything which is affected would go to the right, so they will not clutter and they will not stack on each other. So it will be simple for you for mix wise. Then we have the note probability, which say do we have that note happening all the time, or do we have some time when it doesn't do anything. And to the right we have all which is feedback with feedback loops within the plugin. This way everything which will go to the FX section will be able to come back and to be injected back into the input of the software, but we'll see that later because I think it's better to first have a look at the FX section itself. So let's open it up. It's just like that. You just open it. Oh no, I need to activate the plugin. And okay, now we have this pretty big interface. Suspect wouldn't be able to put that in the device itself, so I had to do an additional window, and it's quite cluttered, but I've tried to put it into different sections that are almost self-explanatory. So the biggest one would be really the stutter section, because in this one it's really here that we are chopping up the incoming sound and creating stutters and glitches. So first we have a dry wet knob, so the incoming audio from here would be mixed with the stutters. So you have to the right you have full stutter, to the left you don't have any stutter at all. Then once we've decided this, we have a probability of stuttering. So if I say 90%, so 9 times out of 10 the stutters will be triggered. So for one given sequence, one given step here, we have this probability which is checked. So I may have some 116 where there is no stutter, and then a 118 where there is some sort of stutter. The stutter field tells the software how long each stutter can be within its maximum size. It's basically something which is similar to the length processing that we have here. So stutter can be very, very short. If I put it at 20, then we have like look, and if it's like that, we will have them very, very legato. Then we have the subdivisions for the stutter. So it's pretty simple. It's thinking of, for example, we have a 1/4 here. If I say I want to have two subdivisions, then each one will be half of that 1/4, so that will be a 1/8. And the minimum and maximum tells the software how much, how maximum and how minimum it has to do some stutters. Recycle probability is basically what it says. Next stutter, next step here has a chance of taking back the sound from the previous one. So actually triggering stutter-like effects and glitches as if you had a wrong communication and you would repeat, you would hear your the person speaking repeating the same part of their phrases. Minimum speed and maximum speed is gives you the ability to accelerate the stutters up to eight times. So they would be this is regular speed, then 1 octave up, 2 octave up, and then 4 octaves up. And if you go to the negative, then of course you understand that it will play reverse. So you can have, for example, here each stutter will be playing at the normal speed, but backwards, has a chance of playing backward or forward. The latest one is quite important because it's a smoothing parameter. Depending on the source material you're in, and you will need to augment this one, to increase this one, to remove the clicks and pops that may occur between the stutters or between the phrases. So play with that. Of course, if the stutter is too high and the subdivisions are too high as well, then the smoothing will be so high that you won't hear the stutters at all, because they would be fade in, and they won't have a chance to fade in before being faded out. So if you don't hear anything, then check this parameter and this one. Maybe that's the reason why nothing seems to be happening. Okay, next we have the pan section. It's exactly the same as this one, but playing on the stutters. So we can have the incoming sound repanned, and we can have the stutters repanned as well. So each stutter will have a chance to be to the left or to the right, or to stay in the middle, depending on this parameters. So it's pretty simple. We'll play with that later. Then we have finished the section which is around the stutters, and we get into something which is a bit more traditional. But I wanted to put that inside the plugin because I would take the advantage of the step sequencer to trigger the changes within each of these filters, which would be a bit more complex to do if I wanted to use a regular effect. So first, the bitcrusher section, a dry wet knob, a probability of crushing. So again, each time a step is triggered, the probability is checked, and the software decides if it's going to be crushing or diminishing the sample rate. So we have minimum bits, maximum bits, and then the same for the sample rate up to 18. So for example, here I have I'm mixing 50%, so half of the incoming stutters. So this is working on anything which comes out of here. So if we have only the dry signal, then the dry signal would get bit crushed. If we have only the wet signal, then only the stutters will get bit crushed, and there would be no incoming signal. So we have one chance over two of we have the half of the incoming sound which is passing not bit crushed, and the half which will be bit crushed. We have a probability of 1/2 to have the bit crush, and then we have the minimum and maximum bits when a bit crush is happening, and minimum and maximum sample rate. So each time this software will change. You check, by the way, here we have some gain staging, because sometimes in some plugins, especially the comp filter there, can become quite high in volume, or the contrary, can get quite low. The stuttering, of course, if the stutter is smooth, then it will reduce the overall volume. So sometimes you want to increase that to avoid using an out gain. The pitch shifter, it's quite similar to what the bitcrusher is doing, but it's working on the pitch. So we have a probability of having the step pitch shifted up, and we have a chances of going low up to 9 semitones back downward, or here 13 semitones upward. We can also select one of the 4 algorithms of pitch shifting, depending on the source material. If you're playing with vocals or quite sensitive materials, then it's probably better to increase the quality of the pitch shifter, unless you want to have some creative effects and you want some crappy sound, which can be also an effect. Simple like that. The comp filter, this one is trickier because there are many parameters. I don't really think these are really self-explanatory for most of the people, because we have feed forward, feed backward, comp filtering, which is we can be mixed, plus a value here, a random value to change it every step. We have a base delay, which is how much delay we add to the signal to mix it between the original and the filtered one. which is how the COM filter is created, because we are mixing the original signal with a slightly delayed one. And then we have some random value on this one. And the modulation is really telling how much we are modulating this bass delay on top of the original sound. This works like that, and this is the amount of modulation. I think I put it here because it's one of the biggest parameters, but well, check it out later. Maybe I'll change that if I feel that that it's not easy to use or easy to understand enough. And we have also the pre-gain here and the feedback gain. You definitely have to play with this one, because the feedback gain will trigger and will drive how much copies of the original signal will pass through the COM filter section. So it will increase the effect itself. Beware, it can go quite louder because it can enter into resonance. So you sometimes have to play with this one a bit downward or upward, depending on the power of the effect you want. And finally, we have this filter section. I've added a few different filters provided by Max. They are pretty interesting. You'll see that this one, especially, which is the high shelf, and we have the low shelf, which is the opposite. They are quite interesting because they are high shelf with a resonance. So we have a notch here and a peak there. So it's quite creative, and it's a bit less diminishing for the sound than using a band pass or just low or high pass. So we have pretty much all the signal passing through, but we have some frequencies which are enhanced and some which are lowered. We can control the Q factor, so the width of the intensity of the resonance. We have a gain, can go down to 0. And it can go quite up, so beware. This is really an output gain, so it can go very high. And then we have the center frequency, which is randomized each time a step is triggered. So each time the step changes, the frequency is chosen. Like that. You see that each time this changes, then the frequency also changes. The smoothing parameter allows to do that a bit less fast, and will be interesting if you want to avoid some clicks and pops which can occur in that situation. Okay, almost there. Sorry for this long explanation, but we finally have this one, which is the feedback section. We can globally take what is outputted here and put it back somewhere in the middle of the plugin for it to resonate. We can first decide where we want to insert the feedback. So before the sequencer, so it would mean at the beginning of the plugin, so it would again be gated. After the sequencer, so it would happen basically here, or here we'll say, just before entering the starter section, or it could also be feedback there. And in that case, it's the maximum effect, because there is absolutely no gating on what's outputted here, so it can again be quite high. And then you can decide how much of the FX section feedback is feedback, and how much of the full signal is going to be sent backwards. So if the dry wet knob, for example, is at 0%, then the FX feedback would just do nothing. But the global feedback would still do, because the dry signal is included in the global feedback. And lastly, sorry, the feedback delay, which can delay that feedback in divisions or in milliseconds. So you can have creative effects as well here, especially if you're playing with the COM filter. So you have something which is already a short delay, and then you can combine that with a longer delay, and it can be quite interesting. We'll see that later. So without further talk, let's see what we can do on this material that we have here. So let's start with that bass line. I've put a bit of delay send. what's gonna happen after the AutoGlitch. Yeah, forget to say that this this feedback delay can work as a digital version, so without any repitching when the delay changes, or can work like a bucket briquet delay, which would mean that when you change the delay, then you have a pitch effect for a while. You probably heard that, so you have a choice between regular delay changing instantly or a slow delay, slow changing delay. So pretty interesting. Let's go to the next one, which is a simple operator with almost nothing in it. So there's nothing there, but it's a saw wave. So because I took the basic sine wave and I put the feedback to the maximum, so we have pretty much a saw wave. So it's pretty rich in terms of harmonics. So it's good material for AutoGlitch probably. Then let's check what it does. So you can hear that we have a bit of bitcrusher like that. Let's remove it to see what it does without. So we have some repan here, global. Let's remove the. Sorry. It's really something you have to play with, and it's really dependent on the source material. So you have to spend some time checking what parameter does what and if it works on a given source material. Hold on, I'm gonna increase the global feedback. There's a change between this and that. Resonance. No. So it's usually when it's resonating, it's usually the global feedback. Good. We don't. Okay, here we have the Supersaw style lead, which is filtered. So what do we have here? We have a bit of stutter, but the probability of the stutter is not too high, so it's really something which adds on from time to time to the original sound. Can reduce a bit. We have quite many subdivisions. We don't recycle, but it wouldn't have any effect to recycle here because it's just one note, so we don't recycle anything. We'll see later what it does on changing material. And we have a maximum and minimum speed, which is to the top. No panning, a bit of bitcrusher, and with just a probability of 1/2, and some pitch shifting, comb filter as well, and the high shelf, which I really like actually. Next, oh, sorry. Next, we have a. I think that's a vocal one. That's a vocal one. Shit. No. Okay, that's an effect. So we starting from an effect. It's interesting that we can take something which already is an effect, but you of course don't want to use this one in any of your tracks because it would be recognizable. So you have to change it, and with AutoGlitch, I mean, you won't even recognize anything. So let's check it out. Can send a bit of delay. Let's add again the kick. Of course, also I'm not doing any mixing here. The kick is just everything is staggering, is stacking up frequency wise. So of course, especially with this kind of effects, you want to put an EQ after that to control, and maybe a compressor also to control how the volume is and how much space it is taking in your mix. I mean, unless you want to use that as a fill and for a transition, then but usually you want to you want to control it. You can use this EQ here, but personally, I think that this EQ is really not meant for mixing. It's really for adding one step of creativity to your sound. So you probably need to add an EQ here. Let's check the next one. Oh, this is a vocal one. But it has been changed. Yeah, I've transferred it a bit upward to match the signature of the track, and also I've put some mangle verb from Eventide to have something a bit weirder than the original sound. We can still listen to the original sound. So mangle verb is a creative effect from Eventide. It's pretty interesting because it's just mangling. It's like a reverb which would have been destroyed and which would not work. So let's add some not working stuff to that, namely AutoGlitch. So here on the pitch section, I'm just adding one semitone maximum or one semitone minimum upward and backward. It's really, as I'm mixing the dry and the wet, it's working a bit like a unison because I'm mixing the original signal with something which goes just around the main frequency. Again, a bit of comp filtering, not too much on this type of creative of incoming material, and a bit of filtering, so the high shelf. Next. Okay, this is a low pad. Some kind of drone. So here the recycle probability is 50%, so the sound is randomly taken from a step before. Yeah, some clicks here, but I think it's much more my CPU or the buffer section, so deactivate some of the instances because this computer is not that powerful. Keep in mind that AutoGlitch is a bit heavy in terms of processing because there are many sections and it's doing quite a lot of stuff at the same time. So you don't want to do what I've done here. I mean, having 10 instances of it on the same project, unless you have a monster in terms of computer. Of course, you also know that you don't need to have all your tracks and all your sounds glitched, because it would be too wild and uncontrollable. This one is a synth basic sound. So here we're almost using it as autoplay, so not much effect, so it's just chopping up the incoming sound, but we're just adding a bit of changes to have something a little bit richer. I think we could add some delay on this one. It's gonna be quite interesting. Good. Again, we have a drone style. A bit crazier. On this one, I think we can add in a second instance, which is with the autoplay, to chop this sound, which is very rich. Let's take a look at this top loop. There's a bit of delay. And now adding AutoGlitch. So there is some recycle. There is some pitch shift here, just upward. We have some a bitcrusher, we have some repan to have something wider, and the stutters are playing all the times, quite fast stutters maximum, but the AutoGlitch itself is running quite low, quite slow, because I have 8 times, so this will be half 1 bar and 2 bars, so each phrase is quite long. I'll try to save all these patches as presets and provide them with the device, so you can have starting points for doing your stuff. Okay, that's a random acid line. It's gonna be even more random. Oh, hats. This one is simply a click. I don't like just playing again over and over. So the FX feedback here plus the comp filter gives us a resonating frequency. Maybe not that the most interesting one, I would say. This one is interesting, is a bass line. So it's a very rich bass line already. So you can hear the effect of the bitcrusher combined with the bandpass. It's giving us the formant-like effect. Like a robotic voice. It's already doing that, even though I don't have any stutter, because the incoming sound is going to a bitcrusher. So like here, like so, the original sound is completely to the left or to the right, but the stutters are almost in the middle because they are low. The width is lower. But I could do the opposite. And the last one, don't remember what it is. Oh, this one is the FM. It's already a quite complex FM style pattern. But again, you can't use that straight in your tracks because it's recognizable and it's coming from I don't know which pack. So they will put it through the effect. Let's say this guy is screaming like hell. We're gonna control it a bit with autoplay. Okay, I'm not going to let all these guys play at the same time. What you can do here, I won't do it in this video because it's already quite long, is take the outputs of these things and put them into the AutoGrid, the audio version, AutoGrid, the 8 channels, and take these channels and have them play and discuss with each other. So we have different glitches, different sounds, different patterns, and rhythmically synchronized, which can be quite interesting for your tracks. So that's it. This was AutoGlitch, my latest Max for Live device. Alto Wisdom. I hope you like this video. Let me a comment. Tell me your suggestions if you need. So if you think there's something I could add to it. And well, I hope you enjoy this new device because I've enjoyed doing it. And see you guys.